In the previous tutorial, we created a stair tower for use as a diving platform for the pool. And in this tutorial, we'll talk about creating versions of that, different versions, using maybe some different tools than you've used before to move and to modify a stair tower. As a challenge to those of you for whom the simple rectilinear creation and modification of forms is old hat in Rhino, I'd like to also extend a challenge for you to consider making a stair tower with a circular stairway, one that might use the polar array command to take a tread and to array it around a circular profile. And to create something a bit more freeform than this. But I'm happy for those of you who want to stick with rectilinear forms to do so. You'll notice that I placed this stair tower adjacent to the pool, perpendicular to the end of the pool, and that our 20-foot surface for the pool edge was not big enough really to accommodate that. So I've also gone in and modified this and extended this pool surface out and retrimmed the ground plane to fit around that. And I would expect that as you put in different stair towers that you pay attention to how close the stairs are to the edge, and if you don't have enough square footage on your pool deck to go ahead and extend that. In the final video, just as a preview, the final tutorial this week, we're going to work on some simple and effective ways to make basic handrails on stairs and platforms like this. And I'll expect you also to make handrails for your stair tower and also for the stairs that you create for the pavilions that you have in your 3 designs. So I've created a sublayer under pool rectangle for the tower to exist on, and I've moved this into place in the previous tutorial using simple move commands up and down, left and right, switching from window to window to be moving on different axes. In the freeform pool layer, I've created another sublayer called tower, and I've copied the same tower on there. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to move it, perhaps with a little more fluidity, and also to use some solid editing tools to create a pretty quick version of that. So what I'm going to do is switch to that as the current layer. You see the tower that I've moved into that position. I'll turn on some of the freeform pool layers. I'll turn on the pool itself so we can see that, and I'll turn off the rectangular pool layers so that we have some reference points to work with. So to move this now hot magenta stair tower into position at the wider end of the pool deck, I could use the move command, and I could start to move it left and right. And watch out that it doesn't sort of dive below the pool as you see it happening in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And it can be a little bit difficult to move things in one direction or move them in another. They might not end up exactly where you want. And then to rotate them, I'd have to switch to a rotate command. And instead, we can use a tool that's new to Rhino 5, which is the gumball command. And I hope that's visible here with all of the crazy colors that I have going on. But with this, what you get is a set of arrows, up, down, left, right, and some rotation arcs that we can use to rotate this tower, to move it axially in different directions. If I need to move it up and down, I can do that. And I can switch from view to view. I can come to the top view here, and I can switch on it, and I can use the gumball to slide it around in a much more free form fashion than having to select move, rotate, etc., as we've done in previous examples. So I wanted to introduce the gumball in this tutorial and show you how fluid that is and encourage you to use that. It works best with single objects like a poly surface, which this is, or a solid. The solid and a poly surface are essentially the same thing. It'll work for a group. You can also use it to scale something if you want to use a scale command. But let's say that we're happy with the location of this. I might actually, I'm not totally happy. I want to move it a little closer to the edge of the pool deck. And it looks good in that location. It looks good. The rotation is good. I can, kind of use my eyeball to rotate it, right? And I feel good about that. But now you really couldn't dive off of this and land in the pool very effectively. So I'm going to use some solid editing tools to edit this and to change the shape of it. So I'm going to actually come down here and I'm going to turn the gumball off so that when I click on this, I don't see all of those handles and controls. It's a useful tool to turn on and off down here at the bottom of the screen. Just turn the gumball on and off. So now I want to take the diving platform of this pool and I want it to be able to extend out to actually put a person over the pool when they're going to use it for diving. So I'll zoom in here and I want to use some solid edit tools. And I've got a tool that's going to be very useful, which is the solid pull down, solid edit tools, edit faces. We could turn on edit points as we've done with some other cases in previous tutorials, but that can get a little bit messy. And with solids, you can grab an entire face and move it. You can grab an edge and move it or adjust it. And if you had holes in it, perforations or something, you can adjust those pretty nicely. I'm going to move face. And one of the things I'm going to do is make this tower a little bit less of a projection in the left to right direction, and I'm going to pull it back toward the stairs so that I can then extend it out over the pool. So the command asks me to select a face. I'll select this end face, and I can hit return, and I can start to move it from a midpoint or end point, and I could also move it in a kind of free-form way, and it might not be showing up on your screens, but if I hold down Shift and move it, thinking that I'll move it parallel to itself backwards, and I come back here, I end up with something that has a very odd shape. The reason that that's happened is that Rhino is still referring to the XY coordinates of the construction plane that is the one that we're working with for this view. And the XY coordinates seen here under the other version were set differently from where we've ended up by having rotated this with the gumball. We've rotated this to a new orientation. So an orthogonal movement of that face is not going to help us very much. So I'll undo that. So I have an option for using other ways of controlling the orthogonality of the movement of this face. I can select the face, and I can move it from its endpoint back to the midpoint of that same surface. And because Rhino had two known points that were selectable with the object snaps, so my object snaps say midpoint, right, endpoint, I was able to put this, move it to half of its original length. But the question arises, how would you be able to move this straight back and tell it not half the length but a certain number of feet? So we could try that with the other dimension and say we're going to use the same command again. We're going to select this face and we're going to try to move it here, and we're going to type in a number of feet, like 5 feet. And there it goes. Again, it's following the wrong axis. Now, you might think this is a great design, and in fact, that looks pretty cool. And you could go ahead and make that one of your variations. But to have clear control of what's going on, you might want to not do that. But instead, change the orientation of your construction plane. As we've done in previous tutorials and as we'll do again, I want to emphasize the importance of understanding your construction planes. So we'll make a new construction plane on the C-Planes tab at the upper left, and we will set it to a surface. We'll select this top surface. It asks us where the origin should be. I'll put it in the corner. And it asks us the orientation of the x-axis. So you can see the construction plane grid here. It has moved up to the top surface of the diving platform. Its origin is here in the corner, and its x-axis is orthogonal to this. So now, when I do the solid edit command and I move surf face, and I move the face, I can select the face, and I can now move it. If I hold down Shift, it is going to move in an orthogonal direction, so I could go by eyeball, or I could put in a dimension like 8 feet and have this extend out over the end of the pool orthogonally to the construction plane's X and Y axes. So I've created a construction plane that is custom to the rotated angle of this stair tower that I've put in here. And I can now work in a more precise manner with the tools that I have and with their orientation. So similarly, since I've set it that way, I could also widen this, and I could widen it using the same command, but not needing to go from midpoint to midpoint, but I could move this face, let's say 2 feet, in this direction, holding down Shift so that it's orthogonal, putting in 2 as my dimension, and clicking. I can now customize this in precisely the way that I want to. In the next and final tutorial for this week, we will be working on adding handrails to the stair tower, and coming up with and sharing some techniques for effectively creating quick handrails, which are very useful in making your architectural designs. Thank you.